No wonder Prince Harry is in tears at the Invictus Games because his wife, Meghan Markle, has not only included his children in an Instagram video without his permission, she's also about to launch yet another brand, as ever, Meghan. So this was the release on Friday night. So many questions about why, when Harry was away, against his wishes, sure, not their faces, but the so-called children, both there. So is the dog, by the way, who is apparently dead. See that? But we'll come to that in just a moment. So it has been quite a weekend for Brand Markle, but clearly Harry feeling hugely uncomfortable. Let me bring in his biographer now, Angela Levin, our royal mastermind. So, Angela, we've got lots to cover off, but can we come first to this new video from Meghan? Because there is no way that Harry said, oh, yeah, just use the children, go on to boost your Instagram profile. And by the way, post it while I just so happen to be in Vancouver and there's nothing I can do to stop it.
It's awful. It makes you feel quite sick, I think, because he wants to be loved. She sort of loves him, kisses, hangs on to him as if that's not really love, but that's what he has to make do with. And then she does exactly what she wants. I mean, it is quite extraordinary. Harry has worked quite a long time with Meghan about social media, not to get children to do it, to save them from what happens. And she's just decided, okay, I want Instagram now. So it takes over. So she's now doing it all the time, loads and loads. She can't do enough. It's like sort of going back and having a drink where you haven't been allowed to for decades. It's just delicious, wonderful.
Yes.
And also that with his children, he's absolutely not wanting them to be seen. Really and truly, he's worried about it in case they could, God forbid, have some sort of terrible attack by someone who doesn't like him or his wife. It's and why do that? But when he's out of the way and it's all positive, he's leading this Invictus game so that she can play about. But also with her, I mean, the America Riviera orchard looks as if it's died a death. And she's got another name as ever, Meghan. I mean, I think I slightly shiver because of that one. Please, Meghan, change, understand other people need help and to be kind, not just you. When there's something like Invictus Games, don't take over, So, no, she's going to be the same as ever, Meghan. But
yes, and I do want to come to that. Oh, sorry, you go, Angela.
Yeah, but I mean, why didn't she do that earlier? It's the first time I've ever known her to give in. She always waits and waits and waits and wants it and won't give in and won't give in and won't give in. But this time, the people in charge said she can't use America Riviera Orchard.
Exactly,
so she has decided to change it. So that's
I know, but this
is
brand disaster 101. So much complication. And I do want to come to that in just a moment. But yes. Can we just first look at some of the reaction to the use of Archie and Lilibet in this video? Stephanie Sidley posted on X, Nancy and I called it. Meghan is slowly putting the kids into her Instagram stories while Harry's away and he can't do anything about it. This is classic narcissistic parent behavior. Paula Matinovich, Paula M, we know her well. She said, I thought Prince Harry gave a huge speech about privacy and the media in Vancouver Island and didn't want his kids in any social media. Meghan Markle must be getting desperate, exploiting them for her personal Instagram. And according to Taz, wrote, of course she's now using the children to get traffic to her Instagram, considering all the years they've made sure no one sees them to protect their privacy. This is such an obvious tactic. Everyone said she'd wait, then use the children to her utmost advantage. Well, here we go. And Lulu LA posted yet another prime example of bored Montecito housewife desperate for attention. If Markle truly adored her husband and the wonderful veterans were Invictus is their real moment to shine, then there would be absolutely no need to post this utter garbage. But the thing is, Angela, this actually was the perfect time for Meghan to post it because she had been sent home from the Invictus Games. She was smarting about all of the negative coverage. Harry is busy. He's tied up there. He'd already had to take a day off because she had exhausted him so much. So actually, this was the moment to strike. First, we got the Friday night release of the PDA and the ludicrously over the top message to her husband. Yes, everything's totally fine. And then we got the children.
Yeah. What do you do? I mean, I couldn't stand that for somebody, because you've got to show that you've got to share things, you don't want to deliberately upset someone, and it counts him for nothing. But if you see when he's around with her, does count for nothing, doesn't he? He's behind, and he's just not involved in what she's doing. He's just there for her. And she doesn't mind. She thinks that whatever she does is absolutely fine and wonderful, and he's just there to follow her. It's a very strange thing. And then the next minute, you're sort of kissing and holding. I think a lot of people, most of us who watched her romance, didn't take it for real anyway. It was so phony. But why do it? She's a real one, isn't she?
Well, she is, but Angela, if you listen to the Sussex squad, yet again, this is all just jealousy from us, right? I'm going to show you their latest attack line and get you to respond.
Okay. Is it about me or you?
The reason
just us in general.
Meghan Markle is because she is living their dream, their Delulu-ass dream of marrying a prince. And what makes it worse for them is that she's a black woman. A beautiful-ass black woman.
So that's all they've got, Angela, the whole racism thing again.
Well, I think that, most people haven't cared what colour she is and haven't cared what she's like in terms of her skin and everything like that. It hasn't bothered people. Especially in this country, we're not like that. It doesn't matter anymore. She can go anywhere and be anywhere, dress anywhere, in different colours anywhere. But this is the thing that Meghan likes. She wants to be, hated and not liked, so she can actually moan and groan. But when we don't do that, she gets, I suppose, these people who are around her to moan and groan for her. But I think really she just she doesn't take any notice because she set it all up, didn't she?
She did set it all up, just like she is now setting all up as ever, Meghan. Save your seat at the table, she claims. Now, this is, as Angela said, a last-minute acceptance that the American Riviera Orchard brand seems dead. But as according to Taz explained about this interesting find from Just Us 8065, and yes, we have to give credit to that account, which is doing some really good work here. It looks like the reason why Meghan has been signing off her Instagram posts as ever M is because she has been quietly setting up behind the scenes. I guess American Riviera Orchard really is dead in the water. Take 999. And then, Angela, we see the trademark image, and it's using, this is according to this this X account, it is using the same correspondence in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania as American Riviera Orchard. There are 4 applications, 3 with names, and an image of 2 birds near a palm tree. So this does look to be a legitimate attempt to launch a new brand, but pretty desperate to do so just 2 weeks before the TV show is on air.
Well, that's extraordinary, isn't it? I mean, apparently the farmers in Montecito don't know anything about all the strawberries or the raspberries or anything that's going on. Nobody knows about them having been packed decently. No one's seen them on the shelves. I can't imagine that you can rush that through in a few minutes. Is she cooking at the stove in a sort of incredibly quick way? Of course not. She's probably not doing anything of that. But it's a sort of game she plays with the world, isn't it? This is going to happen, but then it doesn't. No, this is going to happen, then it doesn't. I mean, she bounces about and she's always there ready for the next one. She teases us all. I think she could drive you nuts, actually. But what she does and what she says, most of which is not true. And eventually it might come out, but she wants to keep up the steam and the speed of her keeping up in everybody else's eye. We saw that, didn't we, during the Invictus Games, the way she was always staring at a camera and smiling and laughing, and we hardly saw anything of what was going on. It was just that she was grabbing it, and this time that's even worse than ever, I think. I mean, totally grabbed it. You just have to sort of send her off, I suppose. And then she comes back with something even more irritating.
Yes. And there it is. There it is, the pending application as ever. So she does not have the trademark as yet, despite the fact that the show launches in just 2 weeks and was meant to be on air at the moment. But look, let's return to the Invictus Games, where yet again Meghan tried to steal some of the attention by making this post on Instagram saying she is so proud of her husband.
My friends, thank you again for a captivating, mesmerizing, and memorable week.
Now, it's interesting, of course, because the Invictus Games, given the way that it was hijacked by Meghan, is now regarded as a disaster, as something that is toxic to be attached to by international leaders. Really, the only big name that they were able to secure was the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Without going into the politics of Canada at the moment, that guy is a busted flush. He's the most hated man in the country. He is on his way out. Yet, the bromance between the two of them continued for the final weekend. Lots of hugs, and I guess they feel some sort of camaraderie in the fact that they're both fighting against the people who want to take them down. They're still fighting for woke. But this is what Justin had to say. The reason you're watching this show is because you know that these days, and we've been discussing it lots at the moment, it's impossible to trust the mainstream media or the so-called fact checkers who claim to patrol social media. And that's for a very good reason, given the Brexit debate, COVID debacle, and demonization of Donald Trump. But I've got the solution for you. Today's sponsor, Ground News, created by a former NASA engineer to provide you with the only safe way to consume the headlines, is going to solve so many of these issues. Go to ground.news/outspoken to check it out for yourself, by the way. But I want to show you this incredible website and app in action. So let's take the recent story. We've discussed it lots of on Outspoken of Elon Musk's fallout with Nigel Farage over Tommy Robinson, which the left-wing legacy media tried to whip up to destroy all three men, actually. And by looking at Ground News, you can see very clearly that it's collated the 230 sources on this story in one place. But what Ground News instantly shows is how the story is being covered by the media and broken down by whether those media organizations lean to the left or right, illustrated by its biased distribution service, which features on all stories. Then you can scroll down and actually see every article about the topic broken down by the political position or ownership of the publication. So in this case, it shows quite clearly that Fox News gave a fair analysis compared to Mediaite and The Independent, which did not, lambasting the men as morons with big egos without actually looking into why this split happened and how it can be resolved. What's more, Ground News gets to know you personally, providing you with the news stories you're interested in, while also analysing your own biases and coming up with potential blind spots you might not be hearing about because of your media consumption. And look, I know you love the news, that's why you're watching Outspoken, but you don't trust the legacy media. But what Ground News does is give you the tools to understand the truth about what is going on in the world. It is the only way I read the news now, allowing you to see through media bias and manipulative narratives with no more relying on the MSM to define what's really going on for you. So go to ground.news/outspoken to check it out. You can subscribe through my link today for 40% off the Vantage plan, which is what I use for unlimited access. And I should say, by the way, Ground News is a really great organization. It is subscriber funded, and by supporting my sponsors like Ground News, you also support my work too. And for less than a Netflix subscription, you can get all the world's news in one place and think for yourself. It really has been a game changer for a news junkie like me. So let me just repeat the address. It is linked in the show notes below, or you can click on the QR code if you're watching on screen. But the address, ground.news/outspoken. But now, back to the show.
And of course, to the Duke of Sussex, Prince Harry, without whom these Invictus Games would never have happened. You are the one who turned this incredible idea into a reality. And as someone that you roped in early on in my time as Prime Minister, I can testify to the energy, the dedication, the commitment this man has to you and to this ideal. You have changed the lives of so many people for the better, and for that, we all owe you the deepest debt of gratitude. Thank you, Harry.
Now, Angela Levin,
you
I have
see-
to be...
No,
Oh, sorry. Well, I just was going to say, I have to be honest with you, that sort of endorsement from Justin Trudeau, number one, is not a good thing. Secondly, doesn't this guy, Harry, now look as if he is incredibly emotionally unstable, going through something? We
Yes.
did used to see this with his mother, Diana. In her darkest moments, she would burst into tears in public.
Yes. Yes. I was going to say, I mean, this is about the only thing that he really does feel he's loved in. You know, he's done it. A lot of his work is his. So to have all these 2,000, 20,000 people cheering him is very emotional. Mostly Meghan wins. Meghan does it, and he stands back and sort of supports her that way. But this time, he's really done something himself. She's taken loads of it. But for that moment, when he was speaking, he could feel that there was something in him that was worth having. And I think that was what made him feel very emotional. It is very difficult, I think, for someone to feel that they're hopeless and actually never find a way to really shine. But this, whatever you can say about Meghan being there and all the rest of it, he does feel that a lot of that is his, and he's helped these people who've been damaged physically and emotionally in looking after various countries. And I think that's what makes him cry.
Yeah, I mean, Angela, I was looking at this video the other day. I've just got a grab from it here of the moment that Princess Diana, do you remember this? It was very early on when Charles was going overseas, and she spoke about it to Andrew Morton. She said that she had just received the news before Charles left that he had re-engaged with Camilla. And so she was crying in public. A lot of people at the time thought that it was because she was upset about the fact that Charles was leaving, but in fact it was because she had found out about the relationship with Camilla. And I just don't think we can overlook the fact that Harry is now breaking down in public just as his wife is doing these things that he is so opposed to. It feels very significant to me.
Yes, I think it's all sort of building up inside him because he does love her. It's his right. But how can he stop her doing the things that he really, really doesn't want her to do because it upsets him? Because I think he doesn't feel that he's the strong one in that. She's the strong one. She leads, and he doesn't want to lose her. So he has to hold it all in inside him, or just now and then cry. So he lets it all out. But it's that's what they both want. So it's not our business, really.
No. Angela, I wasn't happy with Harry, though, and his speech, because, again, this has been overlooked given all of the crisis with Meghan. But yet again, he waded very much into politics. I think he overstepped the mark. He was obviously meeting with the Indigenous people there in Canada. That is fine. That is something that a lot of royals do, putting on the local dress, etc., etc. I do find it interesting, though, given that it's the woke who always talk about cultural appropriation, but for some reason it's fine for Harry to be dressed up like an Inuit, go figure. But it was his speech that I had a problem with. Take a listen to this and I'll get you to react off the back.
To the host nations, to the host First Nations, thank you for your partnership, your friendship over the past 3 years. What your people have endured should never have happened. You've shown us what it looks like to fight for the survival of something far greater. Something far greater. Your land, your culture, your communities, and your light. You show the world how to move forward, armed with the truth in order to achieve reconciliation. And for that, we are forever grateful. Chin Chin Swai.
Now, Angela, given this is a guy who has received all of his wealth, all of his privilege through the royal family, this is, again, really shaky ground.
Yeah, I mean, this is somebody who actually doesn't have a standing and is telling the world what they should do. But he can't even look after himself. He can't even manage Meghan or do what is right and help his father and his brother. He doesn't have to be rude. That is childish and stupid. But he can't even get that right. So for him to stand up and say, how dare these people make army and fight and battles, they're disgusting and they should never do it. And it's who are you? He's not a member of the royal family. He doesn't have a high position. He doesn't have anything that enables him to say that, actually, frankly. I think that it's extremely unnecessary and unkind, because he could just talk about them and how they've overcome their own broken hearts and their woundedness, and they should be able to talk to them. But it's not up to him to tell us all how the world should be dealt with, and leaders of different countries, how they should behave. It's absolutely not his business, and I don't think he should do that. And I think it affects on the royal family itself, because there is this lingering that is he in, is he out? But how dare he speak like that? How dare he?
Of course, and it's shocking. All his woke narrative, and at the end of the day, he has to understand that if he wants to go down this path, then it's him who should be stripped of his millions and millions of pounds and his title. So he needs to be careful. There was another slew of articles over the weekend, Angela, though, which really proved what we were saying last week, that Meghan Markle has simply used the Invictus Games to boost herself. Very telling piece in Town and Country. Now, Town and Country is, of course, one of Meghan's propaganda organ. So we know if it's in Town and Country, this is the official Meghan-approved narrative. Look at that headline. At Invictus, Meghan Markle takes back control of her narrative. The Duchess of Sussex is firmly in a new era of being online, Angela.
I hated it. When I read it, I was furious with them, because that is so phony. And actually, what's happened to her now is that she's more selfish. She's more self-obsessed. And she's more unlikable, because it's always me, me, me. I mean, what do they talk about? New era. It's not new era if you suddenly make jams, is it? I mean, it's a very small thing. It's just everything has to be dynamic. And they have to think that she's absolutely wonderful. She's the most beautiful global woman in the world. I mean, it's nonsense. And for a magazine, a decent magazine, to say that, she's taken back control of her narrative. What does that mean? That she knows what she's saying? Okay, so do I, so do you. I can't see that that's a great thing to be able to do, to actually know what you're talking about. That's what that means. You know what we're talking about. But they have to say it to control of her narrative. Honestly, I go mad. I can't bear it.
Well, of course. And also, I mean, how despicable that you are using that event for that purpose. I mean, she will stoop so low. We know that because she tried to use the Californian wildfires. It failed. She's now tried to use the Invictus Games. I would argue it hasn't just failed for her, it's failed for the games too.
Yeah, I mean, my thing that is so dreadful is that now she's taken her children to do the things there. And I mean, I think it's awful because she's playing with us. She sort of lets us see them and she sort of doesn't. And I think we've had quite enough of that. I mean, either show them or don't show them, but sort of play around with them that you see a little bit of a body and another little bit of a body. I mean, it's absolutely disgraceful because what she's doing there with her making strawberries look like love hearts. And one little child is helping her spread not very well. So you can see she's young. And that's such a sort of beginning of her next job, isn't it? It's the beginning of the jam and the honey. Now, how can she do that with her children? How can she use them to do that? I find it absolutely hopeless that you could even think of it. I mean, you protect your children. You don't let them sort of be there to show you up. Absolutely not.
Of course. And can I just say, as an aside, those bagels look utterly repulsive. No one was eating them. No one was eating them. And certainly I would not be eating them. Grim. Now, Angela, we'll also... yeah, they just look so weird, don't they? So weird. Very inedible. Angela, there was some more insight, though, from the Daily Telegraph on this as well, which wrote that the Duchess of Sussex boosts her profile at the Invictus Games ahead of the business launch. And they say during her final engagement at the Games, the Duchess shared images from a private snow tubing event, which was described as closed to the media. The clips showed her hesitating at the top of the hill while Harry coaxed her forward before flying down the tube, shrieking with delight. The impact has been to filter the games through the lens of the Duchess, putting her, as one observer said, front and centre. And then they spoke to an Invictus Games insider who said in previous years, Invictus staff have worked closely alongside their people, but this year they seem to be doing their own thing. They appear to be working off their own agenda, and my impression is a few people here would have been left feeling uncomfortable. Now, I would argue that's the understatement of the year. This is Meghan's agenda. And you know what? Shame on Harry for allowing this mad woman to hijack the Invictus Games for her own purposes.
Yes, I mean, it absolutely is. And if you've seen some of the pictures that the Telegraph managed to get, you see on it all of their names, Harry, Meghan, and the two children. And that is so that they've bought them. So no journalist or photographer is allowed to have them or take that snap at all. Now, who are they again? I mean, they don't own that. I mean, they did it when they went abroad, didn't they? They took most of the photographs themselves and they were all sweet and nice and gentle because she wanted to give that impression. But I think for the Invictus Games, it's absolutely not on. Because this is a world thing. This is about everybody. These are about people who struggle to get there, who work very hard to come and to do something that they could win or surprise themselves that they can run or walk or whatever. And no, we can't see them because Meghan wants these and she's not going to let you do that. And the ones that will come out from her will be much quicker than they will be in any of the papers or magazines unless she agrees it, and presumably unless somebody pays for it. So what type of person does this? What type of person? It's supposed to be a charity. These people have, had the most terrible experience. They're not who they were anymore. And they have to try and build themselves up. And they get somebody there who actually has to take it all over and make sure she's in the spotlight and she's gathering all the photographs that she likes. It's just not right. And I think the people around her just don't know how to deal with it. I mean, she just is so determined that they can't say, look, sorry, you can't do that. This is for everybody. We want to show it to everyone.
She is a total enabler. She is an enabler. And you look at that man, and that is not a happy human being. That is someone who is having his soul chipped away moment by moment, but doesn't have the bravery to tell the truth.
Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.